This episode originally aired on May 6th, 2022, on the Unethical Patreon. Our client today is Paul Kozlowski. If you have a minute, go check out his podcast. It's called Look Who Showed Up. It's amazing. I listened to it in like 2 days. It was great. Did you clean your rooms today, sons? Are you guys my kids? Like, because you guys are calling me mom.
No, I think it's more like mommy,
Like MILF.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
There you go. Yeah, sure.
Richard's a MILF. Oh, hello, sir. How can the private dicks help you today?
Hi, jackasses. I mean, dicks.
That's a very formal way to introduce us, RJ. I like that. You're working the front desk more often.
Well, after you've hired the worst people in existence to do it, I figured maybe having someone here to do it correctly would help.
You still have your suit that I bought you for $5?
Yes.
All right. I think put it on. If you're going to be that formal, I want that suit on.
Is Paul your uncle or something? Why is he buying you suits?
Cool. So now that you're here, is there any way that we can help you out? I mean, we solve cases.
I
so-
need $1,000. Oh,
No, no, you'll be paying us.
Okay.
But we do invoice you later, so no worries.
got it.
So if there's anything like that's like been bothering you that you might want us to figure out, we generally are.
There has been something bothering me.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to sleep in 27 years since Princess died, was killed. And I finally saved up enough money, and I want you guys to solve what exactly happened to her.
That is something I think we can do. This is so weird. This always happens to Richard, but it happened to me this time. I actually have been spending the past year and a half diving into the history of Princess Diana. So I'm fully prepared for this.
This is gonna be an easy buck for you because I want to confess that I killed her.
Oh, okay.
Years ago, I was a French paparazzi, and but if you guys could find some other cause other than me, then that would be fantastic.
Oh, a frame up.
Yes,
Okay.
That's pretty good. Yeah, let's prove Paul didn't do it, guys.
An elite team of private detectives.
What if balloons are aliens? Maybe that's the key component we're missing.
Cover-ups.
John's guilty.
Mysteries that need to be solved.
Maybe Mormons need mountains.
Richard, shut up.
Thank fuck that you know anything about this, RJ, because I hate Princess Diana.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe.
All right, well,
maybe...
I have my first suspect.
I killed her. I killed her. I killed her too.
So Paul just walks in, gives us money for you to confess to it. Perfect.
but it'll work. Who do I make the check out to?
Not Richard.
Okay.
Well, I guess I won't let all this go to waste, and maybe we'll just, for the sake of, investigation.
Investigate, yeah.
Yeah, for the sake of investigation, we'll go through the information regardless.
Sounds
and we'll
good.
see if maybe we don't find out something new.
All right.
So Diana Frances Spencer is her real name. I learned while looking up these royal frou-frou crazy fucks, none of them have last names really.
Oh.
Yeah, like Prince Charles, that's pretty much just his name. He's Charles Philip Arthur George. No last name. His house is Windsor, but that's it. It's literally like Harry Potter. They don't like.
Does that mean that Cher is royalty?
Cher is yeah. Cher is the queen of pop. That's
For anybody 50 plus, she's definitely royalty.
yeah.
But that they're not called last name Windsor. So like when what's his name married Markle, she just lost her last name. Does she get no last name?
Kind of, yes. But now that they live in America, that is like I think they do like just give them a last name so that they can function in a society like that, like probably for school and stuff.
Gotcha.
Because Harry's last name, Prince Harry's who you're talking about, his last name is now Mountbatten Windsor. And I think the reasoning for that is because Queen Elizabeth is the Windsor name, and then her husband, Prince Philip, is Mountbatten. But being that she's like big dick, not going to take anything from anybody, just they hyphenated her last name and then gave it to the kids. Like, I know that's common in other places, but I feel like if it was a king, they probably wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
so weird.
It is.
Okay.
That's honestly some of the weirdest, like this whole thing. I still do not have an understanding of royalty at all. Like it is so bizarre.
As soon as they start giving last names, they're gonna realize they're marrying their cousins. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So no last names for anyone.
Did you know that they get whatever they call it when they get knighted or kinged, that they sit on a chair with a rock in it from Scotland? Like the rock is like on like in the chair below the seat.
Huh.
And at one point the Scottish people stole it for about 30 years. But now they got it back.
Is that what started the movie with Mel Gibson? Is that the plot to Braveheart? I've never seen it.
Yes.
Yeah, just yes, for sure.
Cool. I don't have to watch it now. Diana was born on July 1st, 1961 in Sandringham, Norfolk, England, to her father, John Spencer, and her mother, Frances Roche. She was actually born into nobility. I, for whatever reason, always thought she was just like a regular gal, but she was
Me
just
too.
in nobility. Her father was a fucking viscount, they call him, which
Okay.
sounds like it feels, I don't know, it's just the vibe, but it sounds like he's a vampire.
Yeah. I think it's the count part that makes him sound like a vampire.
That too, yeah. That's probably also it.
Yeah.
And he became an earl later on when his father died. So that she's firmly nobility. And she grew up on what's called the Sandringham estate, which is literally next door to one of the royal family's vacation homes. And the royal family was their fucking landlord. So she knew all of these people while she was a kid.
Yeah. But wait, technically isn't like the royal family everybody's landlord?
Yeah, I guess, but I
Anyways.
think like it's yeah. I mean, they literally take just taxes from all of England, so that's probably pretty accurate. She actually played with the young princes, like when she was a kid. You know, Andrew the pedophile, and then
Andrew probably played with her.
yeah,
I bet she played with him.
and then also Edward, who I didn't know existed until I looked into this. I didn't know there was a third brother with Charles Andrew. I thought it was just those two.
Is he the goth brother who like, my name's Andy?
Yeah,
like, it's Andrew.
It would be Eddie because it's
Oh,
Edward.
sorry, it's Eddie. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I didn't know he existed. But she played with them when she was young, and the reason for that is because they were all similar to her age. I also didn't know Charles is 12 fucking years older than her, so that's like a huge age gap. And matters later on when they actually know each other. Diana's parents divorced when she was 7. I guess that was like a big issue for her growing up. From the sounds of it, she says, and I don't know if it's just her saying it or just like what other people know, that the big issue between her parents was the fact that they had trouble conceiving an heir. And I looked into this 3 different ways, and it makes no sense because they have a son. It's her younger brother. So I don't know if that issue came prior and just kind of lingered with them and then they split anyways, or if they just hate their son. Like
I was gonna say he's probably touched.
Yeah.
It's too much inbreeding, you know what I mean? My name's
I mean,
Earl. No, you are an Earl. My name's Earl.
Yeah, he did inherit it. He's like Lord Spencer now or whatever the fuck.
Oh, okay.
But she also had, I think she has 2 sisters. And at the time when they were having trouble conceiving this, like it was a time where like that Diana's father sent his mother away to a clinic to get checked out for her problem in being unable to conceive a boy. So I would also divorce that man, but yeah.
Okay.
She lived with her mom for a while in London, and then like 1 year her father just didn't let her go back after Christmas, and then he fought her mother and won full custody of Diana. And the part of the reason he did is because Diana's mother's mother testified against her own daughter in a custody hearing on the side of the father, which is the most cold-blooded shit. Like
that's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Queen and country though. Queen and country, man.
I guess
These people
yeah.
are fuck my son, if my queen asked me, or my earl asked me to do
Mhm.
something, my earl comes to my house and says, sell your daughter out, I'm doing it. Or with their little accents. I can't do an English accent.
Yeah. This next fact is fun. So like I said, Diana did not like enjoy growing up at all.
Who the fuck did?
Well,
Exactly.
yeah, I mean, and it doesn't exactly set her apart. And also, she was fucking nobility, so you'd think that she would maybe have like a little bit easier go of it.
I'm gonna say a lot easier go, but she probably says she didn't.
Yeah, no, I mean that's, and we're gonna get into that like later because there's like
Yeah.
a ton of not that I'm saying don't talk about it, but you know what I mean. So she said her childhood was, quote, very unhappy and unstable, the whole thing. And there's one instance which came out of nowhere when I was reading up on this and just made me laugh so hard. She fucking could not stand her stepmother. Her stepmother's name was Rain, Countess of Dartmouth, and she referred to her as a bully.
Cunt.
That, yes, yeah. Did you know her, Paul?
Oh, don't get me started on Rain.
I won't. I didn't mean to pick any scabs there for you. She admitted to pushing her stepmother down the stairs at one point.
Oh, great.
No context there. Just said she pushed her down the stairs. So that was fucking wild.
She's like known for humanitarian shit though, right?
Yeah,
Like that's just
yeah.
a funny thing.
Well, what's more humanitarian than trying to murder your evil stepmother?
I guess
Right?
that's true.
That truly is part of the fairy tale that was her life. She first met Charles when she was 16 and he was like 28.
8.
Yeah.
Yikes.
This was at the time, I didn't know this also, that Charles was dating Diana's older sister. They were a thing for like a while. And honestly, they didn't actually separate until, and this is pretty fucked up. Diana's sister, Sarah, got drunk and just started like babbling to reporters about all of the bullshit that she was privy to being so close to the royal family. And like said like all kinds of shit about Charles, particularly that he wasn't at all kingly or like fit to be a king. And the quote she gave is, she wouldn't marry Charles whether he was a garbage man or the king. And then like what's weirder about this is the way that they frame this is that she like saw the article printed and was like, hey Charles, look, and then was like surprised by how he reacted to it.
This is like a fucking reality TV show. This is awesome.
It really is, dude. Like it's such like a socially incestuous thing. It's fucking wild. So like
Capital I on the incestuous.
yes, that is for sure. And that happened like sometime in the late 70s and stuff. So they weren't a thing anymore. As soon as Diana herself turned like 18, she moved back to London, like as soon as she was able to, because it seems pretty evident that she just preferred it there. Her mother bought her like an entire ass house, like a huge flat and shit. And
I fucking hate my youth too. I hated being a kid too. You know when your mom doesn't buy you the flat that you want?
I
Fuck,
know.
Fuck my life.
Push her down the stairs.
Yeah, you push her down the stairs.
First things first. Pushing that bitch down the stairs.
So she was forced to get a flat because they're only one level. No more
Yeah.
stairs for you, bitch.
Yep. And then yeah. Diana was like not going to college. She like tried college and then just like quit. It just wasn't for her. I guess she always did terrible in school. Like she was homeschooled, and even when she was going to real school, like it just never worked out for her. So while she's
Who wants to go to Princess College anyway?
yeah,
Exactly.
it sucks. I never could. They never had any tiaras my size when I was there. I always had them too big or too small. I looked like an idiot. And the glass slippers never fit me either. Diana worked like exclusively like low paying shitty jobs. Like she just, I don't know if that was like on purpose, because like her folks paid for everything, obviously. Like she didn't like actually need to do that. but she just like fucking nannied and then just bummed around in the house that her mom bought her with her roommates, and did that all the way up until she ran into Charles one time at what they call a country weekend. Never fucking heard of that. Can't figure out what it is.
Well, then, what are you doing next weekend, my friend?
Apparently something country with you, Paul.
Come on down to my Viscount estate.
We'll
Sounds
ride
good,
horses and fucking
Well, it's Vicodin,
munch.
but
Okay, cool. I'm looking
but you
forward to it.
feel like you're royalty.
Wait, hold on. Is Rain gonna be there?
That douchebag will never. Don't even get me. I can't even finish that.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to bring her up.
Boy.
So they actually hit it off at this weekend. She like was like watching him play polo, which I guess is the British way to flirt.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. And then they kind of got like smitten with each other, and Charles took her on like some big ass yacht for like a weekend. And then like not too long after, he actually brought Diana to Scotland at Balmoral Estate, which is another one of their 1,500 fucking vacation castles.
You know what I'm learning so far, RJ? Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but you know what I'm learning so far is that the royals are very, very important people doing very, very important stuff using the money.
Yeah.
People. They're doing a lot of very important stuff. So I'm glad they got this yacht ride. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. I mean, like it without them, I don't know where we'd be. So
If they don't understand how boats work, we can't have a navy. Keep
That's
up,
true.
Richard.
That's true. No, I all genuine. I wasn't being sarcastic at all.
So Charles brought her to that castle, and she literally met his daddy, his mummy, the queen, and even his grandmummy, who apparently lived to be like 102, by the way. That's Elizabeth's mom. I don't think she died until like early 2000s.
Queen Mother didn't die till like 2000s for sure.
Hormone replacements. When you're loaded, do you look at Bezos over the past couple of years?
Wait, are you saying that are you saying that the royal family is trans?
No. I mean, no spoilers. No spoilers.
That's a wild accusation that did not turn up in my research.
I'm gonna tell you right now though, if you put like a buzz cut on Queen Elizabeth, that's a man. I'm just saying it's not. Anyways, I was gonna say from the king. I was gonna say that. Sorry, hormone transplant, but they're lizard people, so they have longer lifespans. That's what I think. They're lizards. This is not a new theory.
I think it's the rock that they sit on.
Yeah.
Magic royal rock.
Yeah.
Royal Rock. He brought her to meet whole family at the castle, and they actually liked her. It took no time for him to propose to Diana, and they kept that a secret for like 2 weeks until February 24th, 1981, when they announced their engagement. Immediately, Diana goes and moves into Buckingham Palace, and also immediately things are just not good for her.
Good. That's awesome.
Yeah, she recalls this time as being very lonely and sad. She just says that I don't know how much of this shit is just retrospect, because at the time I personally believe, she was just fucking like thrilled, but maybe also very anxious. And then once things went sour, maybe it was just very easy for her to kind of shit talk it once everything fell apart.
Or maybe she imagined marriage the way normal people do. And instead of moving into a giant, creepy place with a bunch of creepy people being creepy, not to mention Prince Andrew.
That's, yes.
That's probably part of it.
Cut her a little slack, RJ, okay?
I will. I'll ease off.
Until you walk a mile in her ruby slippers, do not.
Yeah.
Oh God. So I think the one understanding that people actually have written about is that she kind of started to regret it, just because it is sort of to that effect. Shit just kind of got real. Before it was ooh, I'm dating the prince and he's taking me on a boat. And then it was okay, everything you do, at every moment of time is going to be fucking micromanaged for optics. And sort of just based on how she seemed as a kid, which was that, like, you know, she didn't do well in school because she didn't want to be there type of shit. So she was rebellious, but like shy, and kind of just was like, I just want to do whatever the fuck I want. I want to be rich, but also work a nanny job. You know, I don't think she was really prepared for this.
How old is she? Sorry, go.
My bad. This is in 81. So she's like only like 19.
You can't throw the queen down the stairs. So that really put a hit.
Yeah. They won't let you get
Not with the
close enough.
hormone replacements. She's ready for
Yeah.
it.
She'll throw you down the stairs.
Yeah.
That's right. Their wedding was 5 months later in July 29th, 1981. 600,000 people were in the streets for this wedding. And an estimated 750 million people tuned into the broadcast worldwide.
People love the fucking royals. It's crazy. It's like they have like full-blown royal reporters in England, like people that'll just straight up, all their job is to monitor what's going on at Buckingham Palace. That's nuts.
Oh, yeah.
And almost 1 billion people watch this.
Think about all the people that love the Trumps
That's true.
or the Kardashians.
That's true
Yeah.
too.
People love trashy families with a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
It's so random, and all those I hate. So I still don't get it on all fronts. But yeah, I do understand. Like,
Rajay, when you got married, how many people were in the streets?
Just the ones that were stuck in traffic while I was standing in the street saying the vows.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was about like 3 Honda Civics and 1 tractor trailer. The dress Diana wore, I just thought this was important to include. Today would have been worth $46,000 in 2022 money. And she actually specifically made a point of omitting from her vows the word obey in reference to Charles. And that was like always forever prior to that, in at least in their whatever, you know, vows they normally say.
How often is that in vows?
I shall love and
Okay,
obey my husband
interesting.
or you
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah, she was the first one to do that.
I don't think I blame her for not saying I won't fucking obey.
I don't think anybody
Yeah.
does really.
No.
This is why she was loved, though. This is part of why she was loved. She like snubbed her nose at the old regime, and she was the new one coming in and fucking pissing everyone off, right?
Yep. It was the narrative that people spun around it, that it was very endearing, where she was just like not stuffy or, you know, or anything like that. So
Did she do the vow of I won't push my husband down the stairs?
that I don't think came up.
all in-laws are safe around stairs.
Yes. So once they were married, Diana was immediately named Princess of Wales, making her the 3rd highest ranking female in the royal family, behind the Queen and the Queen Mother, respectively. In November of 81, just a few months later, they announced that they were pregnant with their first son, William. In January of 1982, Diana fell down some stairs.
She fell down,
Oh.
did she?
It's called karma.
Yeah.
Yep. This is while she was 3 months pregnant. The gynecologist confirmed the baby was totally fine.
But he'll be bald by 30.
Yeah, that I think the conspiracy here is, you know, maybe that's why William looks so fucking creepy. He's a zombie in makeup. He actually died in the womb. And here's a little twist. Diana later admitted she threw herself down the stairs.
Oh my God, what?
If you can't find somebody to throw down the stairs, throw yourself down.
That's right. Well, she threw herself and her first child at the same time.
Oh,
And-
Okay, wait.
for a baby
Does
down the
William knows this? Does William know this? Is he like despises mom?
I would imagine the article that RJ read got back to him.
Yeah, at some point, probably. Be real
Just imagine
funny.
finding out your mom tried to kill
Oh
herself.
my God, when he listens to the podcast and he hears this for the first time, this is going
I
to drive
know.
him crazy.
Yeah, I emailed him earlier and let him know we'd be sending it to him. So
dude, and just a thumbs up emoji.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to cut out that part where I said about him looking like a zombie. Or I won't be invited to
The zombie country. What do they call it? The
country weekend.
Zombie country weekend.
Zombie country weekend. Yeah, I'll be disinvited.
Yeah.
Don't give them any more ideas on how to spend taxpayers' money in England, because I'm sure they will have a zombie weekend.
Oh my God. Yeah. They just have like a whole thing of them like softly muttering and chattering with classical music while they're like eating goblets full of human brains.
Pip pip cheerio.
Yeah.
Oh, this was a child. This was a little urchin boy. Very cheap.
In England, they eat brains and chips.
Yeah.
After William's birth in June 21st, 1982, Diana suffered from postpartum depression. That's common. But I also just kind of feel like, of course she did. She had everything depression, might as well be postpartum as well. When he was a baby, at the urging of Australia's prime minister, she actually took him with her on her first tours of Australia and New Zealand, which was like a super controversial move because like royal family kids, like they were always just supposed to be in like a fucking bubble all the time. And she made like,
They probably didn't want her to bring the baby there because fucking dingoes eat babies.
yeah. I mean, I think that was a lot of the flack there, is that they were just like, it's fucking Australia. Are you crazy?
Plus, she was breastfeeding him while riding a kangaroo.
Yeah. September 15th, 1984. That's when Harry's born. Ooh, excuse me. Little redheaded Harry. Diana claims that Charles and her were never closer than during her pregnancy with Harry, which is interesting. I imagine that means they probably said hi to each other twice over 9 months and maybe shook hands, because otherwise it does not seem they were close like ever.
There's a big thing about her, Harry being the horse trainer kid or something. Anyways.
Yep. Yeah, I do touch on that. And
Oh,
that is that we can talk about it now. It doesn't matter. All this shit's just kind of like whatever. Later on, there are affairs abound. And Diana does have her first known affair with James Hewitt. And as soon as pictures of him were public, people immediately went like apeshit and just said that that's Harry's real father. And I get it, because I looked at the pictures and I was like, get the fuck out of here. And I hadn't even heard that like theory yet. I was just like, oh shit, I bet that's his real dad.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because they look
alike.
scarily similar. But James Hewitt has just denied that adamantly for 35 years.
That's how you get murdered by a queen, though.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like you're not gonna say that. You fucking nuts to say that.
Yep. So Diana made a point of raising these kids like atypical for royalty. She just went full bore with that. She tried to treat them like normal kids. Or
We
like
only go on the
normal-
yacht once a year.
Yeah.
We only go country weekends 2 times a year. Like every other kid in London.
Now finish your dinner so I can throw you down the stairs.
Oh God. Yeah, she like, so like normal rich kids, at least, like she would like let them have like fast food, took them to Disney World. She picked her own nanny and would even like drive them to school herself whenever she could.
So down to earth.
Yeah, and she did do all this without like asking, like without like deferring to like Charles or any of like the security or any of that shit. You know what I mean? So she just like kind of broke all the unspoken rules regarding that stuff.
Yeah.
And like even like any of like her own like royal duties, like all that was like, boom, that shit can wait if the kids need something. I'm not just gonna hand them off to the nanny or whatever. So that's kind of admirable, I guess. I don't know. But
Yeah, sure. She's taking care of her kids, but I mean, like, there's lots of people that take care of their kids.
no, I know. It's just like compared to what else you're surrounded by.
Compared to being I didn't have to be the queen. It just bugs me. She's like, so far it's like I was so just normal. Like I did the things I was supposed to do. Give me a prize.
I am with you. I came away from this not like I went in not particularly like having an opinion on her, and I'm like not really a fan.
Yeah.
at the end of it.
I just don't
So,
like when super privileged people complain about their fucking childhood. That's got me right off the bat. Like, shut the fuck up, Miss Privilege. Get the fuck out of here. You've been on a yacht. Just shut up. As soon as you get on a yacht, you're done. You no more complaining.
yeah.
I feel I'm pretty sure I've heard BetterHelp.com say that you can't sign up if you've been on a yacht.
Oh God. So
Have you guys been on a yacht?
It would be so much better if they were a sponsor, but
They will be. Quick poll. Have any of you been on a yacht?
I have not.
Thank you.
no.
Thank you.
Not on a yacht. Honestly, like the biggest thing she really did with like her, it's what you referenced earlier when you're talking about her humanitarian stuff. And honestly, it's just because of her public image and the attention she brought to it. You know, whatever her motivations were, whatever she had in her soul as a person is kind of irrelevant. Her kind of publicly visiting AIDS patients in 1987 and then like, you know, touching them and holding their hands, that like, I know, but at the time, because here's the thing, when Ronald Reagan heard about that, reportedly he put his fingers in his ears and went, nah, 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 nah. So
I'm sure he did that with a lot of things.
Yeah.
Trickle down economics don't work, Reagan. La 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 la.
yeah. So just based on the timeline, you know what I mean? Like
I know. I'm just
because the other thing that people talk about is like her landmine shit. And I heard that and I'm like, what, she's against landmines? Big whoop. Like, what the fuck?
she got them banned. Yes. Though, right? That's what she did with them.
No, she got them banned off of stairways. Sure.
I'm not gonna let the landmines take all the fucking glory.
Yes.
But she was like trekking like through like old minefields in like a flak jacket and a helmet and shit, and there was like media there to see her do it. So it's just the awareness that she raised to these things.
I agree with those things. I'm okay with that, because if you have power and privilege and stuff like that, in my opinion, that's how you should be using it, is to try and help other people that they wouldn't normally have that kind of media attention. So I do appreciate that kind of stuff. I'm cool with that. Anyways.
Like Kanye being against drone strikes, right?
But I don't think the only people that are for drone strikes, like how many people are for them?
Obama?
Good for that?
Well, I think that that's how they should select the king or the queen, is have all the royalty walk through a big field of landmines.
Yeah.
And whoever makes it to the end.
Idea.
Yeah, and they call it the country zombie party.
Oh,
Perfect.
wouldn't it be awesome to just see fucking Andrew step on a landmine and just boom on live TV?
Oh my God, that would be great. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we can all be like, look, he didn't sweat.
Yeah.
Not even
Never
able
has he
to.
sweat.
So the next decade after like 87 on is like just a fucking mess. Like things get so, it's all just fucking like, the reason I didn't like this so much is because it's so much gossip, in talk, like media attention, tabloidy bullshit. Like that's all everything is.
Yeah.
The gist of it all is that's when the affairs are really supposedly starting up. Diana maintains that Charles actually was seeing his one-time girlfriend, Camilla Parker Bowles, who is now Princess of Wales, because as we all know, they married and all that.
You know what about that? Can I just jump in?
Please.
Everyone in England, everybody hates Camilla Parker Bowles. You know, they don't understand what Charles was thinking. Take a look at that hottie. How could you keep your hands off of that delicious piece of
British?
Yes.
She's just so fucking, but so is he, dude. Pictures of him, he looks like a fucking cartoon. She just looks like they belong together. Just the fucked up teeth and the ears and the noses. Like
no, I'm getting hard. Hold on.
God
Me too now. Now I am too.
Well, I didn't know I was going to inspire boners with this one.
I'm thinking about Morgan Freeman.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
That's what they called her, Camilla Parker Boners. Because she was hot.
Well, Diana thinks that he was seeing her from like the moment they were married. Like he just never stopped fucking around on her with Ugo Parker Bowles. Couple years in, Diana also starts having affairs. That's Major James Hewitt, who was she met him because he was like a writing instructor to the royal family. And that's also like when the media starts kind of going wild with the fact that holy shit, he looks just like Harry and all this stuff.
Horse riding or instructor riding?
I think stair pushing instructor.
Okay.
Riding the
Stair
stairs
pushing.
down on your head and back. Yeah.
And surviving, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And what you want to do is tuck.
Tuck and row.
Started going Australian on that one.
I'm sorry, I'm not good at accents.
So, like I said about that too, James denied all that stuff. But you know, tabloids be tabloiding. But this is also around the time Diana starts doing like secret interviews with a friend of hers who is actually also a friend of an author named Andrew Morton. And this dude is just writing a book like third hand. All this is like on the up and up with Diana, but like it's weird how like secretive they had to be and shit. When like nowadays, like I mean, you saw everything that happened like last year with Harry and Meghan and all that. Like they just went on fucking Oprah and just talked about it, you know?
Yeah, I think that's different though. I think like Harry sought that out to be that way because of the way his mom dealt with her issues with the royal family, right? I think he wanted to be more in the front of everyone, so there's no hiding it. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Yeah. No, I think that's totally valid.
Yeah.
Interestingly, kind of like just to track back to the Camilla and Charles thing, he like maintained like for the longest time that he had never cheated on her, even when people like publicly just knew. Like it wasn't until like a TV interview he did in the 90s that Charles was like, no, I never had an affair. And then like the guy's like, you never had an affair. And he's like, well, at least not until things were irreparable. And then just admitted it, like that had been happening at least as early as 86.
He didn't deal with that properly. He should have been like, so you had an affair. I didn't have an affair. You're telling me you didn't have an affair. And then he would have been like, Andrew Dick's little girls. And then everyone would have focused over there.
It sounds like he was in a Barnaby Jones episode.
Yeah.
I never did. All right, I did it.
Dude, and when you watch videos of him, like you can kind of see where like all that like shit talk about him like not being kingly or whatever comes from. Like he really isn't, and I'm not even convinced it's something that he even wants. Like if you look it up, it's like it's one of the first things that comes up, like fun facts about them. But like Elizabeth is like the longest reigning queen in history, but Charles is also the longest reigning heir apparent. Nobody's been waiting to be the king longer than him ever. I like at that point when you're in he's 74 now. Like, is it even something you want? You know what I mean? Like,
well, how old is Trump?
75 now, maybe. So
that's my point. These guys, these old fucks want this for sure. For sure, he's gonna take it for a couple of years.
He just seems like a milquetoast fucking like bitch boy, and like he just wants to like fuck his ugly wife and be rich.
The British people be way more they benefit way more from just like stopping the whole thing after she dies. Like just ending the whole royalty, not paying the money anymore, just being like, you guys are a rich family, do what you got to do. Maybe return some fucking jewels to the places around the world you stole them, and then we'll call it a day. No,
here is your romance. God damn you.
Awesome.
You want to tear down Big Ben next?
No. Big Ben's not doing anything. You want to
keep Benny Hill from dancing?
Benny Hill's dead.
Or is he a zombie?
Oh, that's true. He's gonna be at the weekend. Are you guys gonna go see him?
Zombies, English people, really?
Yeah, same thing. Same teeth.
6 in one, half dozen the other.
Exactly.
The interesting thing though is like Diana maintains that she was like madly in love with Charles regardless. Like she just gave him everything, like emotionally, but just got nothing in return, which like I mean I don't necessarily believe that, but it just kind of sounds like a way of making her story sound sadder, I guess. But I also can see, I mean, she's so young, you know, I mean, he's 12 years older than her.
Did her and her older sister get along? Like, did she just stick to fucking piss her sister off?
No, totally fine. They're great. Like all through
Okay.
and through. Like, yeah, people tried to like put that in there. Good question, because I think I either skipped it or forgot to write it down. But they tried, the media tried that, but they like literally when Diana passed, she put her in charge of the trust. So they're all good.
Hmm.
And I think it's just because like her sister really thought Charles was a bitch and didn't want anything to do with him, so it probably didn't bother her.
You can have Cuck Boy. I got fucking Lance
Yeah.
over here, rides horses. Let's fucking do this.
Right. Well, so because Diana says she, loved Charles so much, in 1989, she actually confronted Camilla about her ongoing affair with Charles at Camilla's sister's birthday party. Literally everyone could like sense she was going to do it. And like a bunch of like her close friends were like, what are you doing? Don't do that. Like, cause it was just like so inappropriate for the high society shit.
Yeah, you're gonna ruin our $1,000 plate meals. You bitch.
Yep. I guess like from the way they describe it, Charles basically had like a panic attack and ran away when he knew she was going to do it.
They're fighting.
Yeah, dude. But I guess I have some quotes. She walked up to her and said, I just want you to know that I know what you're doing. And then like Camilla didn't. Yeah, I know. Like,
my word,
ooh.
good Lord. I've never.
Yeah, so yeah, Camilla denies it and all that, but then like Diana like insists. But then Camilla says something to the effect, I cut some of this out, but the gist of it is, you have everything you've ever wanted. What more do you want? And Diana says, I want my husband. So that was like classic soap opera shit.
Yeah, that sounds dramatized. That sounds like this.
Yeah.
At the beginning of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, this is based on a true story, and it's just not even close. That sounds what that is.
Yep. For
My
sure.
God, don't start getting into the similarities between Texas Chainsaw Massacre and the royal family, because we'll be here all night.
All the teenagers that die in vans by them. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, sister fucking, cannibalism. Yeah, you're
Wearing
right.
other people's skin on your face.
Dude. Classic country weekend foibles.
Yes.
Oh my God. So this kind of brings us forward to 1992, just to skip a few years. This is what the Queen calls her, and this is a fun one, Annus Horribilis.
Her anus horrible? The horrible anus.
Yep, I figured that would pop up. She actually says it like that in a speech she gave at her 40th anniversary of her rule.
Say it like the Queen. Say it like the Queen.
Oi, fuckers! What's up? I'm here and it's been 40 years. And 1992 is not a year on which I shall look back on with undiluted pleasure. Cunts.
Go, Queen Elizabeth, you're here. Queen Elizabeth's here for this. She's been tapping in. She doesn't like us talking about Diana.
That's right. I want to set the record straight here, bitches. No funny business now.
That's uncanny.
It's unreal.
Well, I mean, of course, it's the Queen. I mean, she's here in front of you. You don't see her? All right. Yeah. Amongst other things that happened in 92.
Sorry, before we get to 92, because you just started, I wanted to ask, does the Queen weigh in on any of these affairs or anything like that? Does she say anything during this time?
So this is kind of like her acknowledgement of it is during
92 is what you're doing right now? Okay.
Yeah. Because what happens is in 92, Diana and Charles officially split. They're separated. And the thing is, it's just such an ongoing thing. I mean, they're married in 81, and then, by like 85, they're talking about these affairs. So this has just been in the news and in tabloids for years now. So they finally do a separation. But then the same year in the tabloids, good old Prince Pedo, his wife is they split, and there's photos of her in tabloids topless
running
on
out
the
of a
beach.
basement with a bunch of girls.
Sorry,
sorry, what were you gonna say?
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, but in a onesie sucking on her baba. Yeah. Nailed it. No, she's topless on a beach and like with some fucking like surgeon dude or no, like a financial guy or something sucking on her toes in these pictures.
Oh God.
Like, yeah, and they're not even like officially split yet. Around the same time, fucking Windsor Castle, her like the Queen's like family castle, nearly burns to the ground. So like that's why she calls it her most horrible year, her anus horribilis. Yeah. And then the big thing also, like, why, you know, at the same time is that book comes out and it's called Diana, Her True Story in Her Own Words. And all the details of everything is just,
You know what? You probably don't know this. The actual title was Diana, Her True Story in Her Own Words. I'm not fucking around. She really said this, but it was too long.
Hey, don't turn your back on the stairs is the subject. Is that book written by Andrew Morton that, you know, she gave those interviews to that friend through, and
yeah, the telephone in my own words, the telephone game.
Yeah, pretty much. But she copped to a lot of like really personal stuff in this, including all of her own affairs that she admitted to, and then also self-harm, and she had a big struggle with bulimia.
What does self-harm mean? Like, I didn't buy myself a new Gucci handbag this month.
There was a lot of stairs that saw her back and neck that year.
Now, when you're that rich and you have bulimia, do you have a servant stick their finger down your throat?
Yeah, exactly.
Probably. Well, no, not Diana. She did everything herself, pal. All right. She was authentic. So the Queen and Prince Philip, I guess, actually had a meeting with Diana and Charles to try and like get them to like get their shit together. Supposedly they said something to the effect of like, try to think of the children, the monarchy, and the country instead of your personal woes. And then Prince Philip actually took a focus on Diana and wrote her personal letters that had like this very like plain but also like kind of gentle tone. It's strange because he's like super fucking judgmental of like everything she did while saying very little about Charles, but he does admit that he's silly for risking everything with Camilla. And it's just like kind of the reason I don't like it, because it feels like such like a fucking in-law thing to do, you know, like, no, I'm on your side, I get it, I also married into the royal family, but that's why you can't be a stupid bitch, man. Like, you know, like it's just sort of the air that some of this stuff had. And she has mixed feelings about him. She mentions publicly later on that she appreciated some of the things he said, but just felt that he was still a judgmental fuck. And it doesn't matter because they end up separating, like I said.
Yeah.
And pretty much right after they separate, and that's all, you know, public knowledge, Diana starts taking speech lessons with an instructor named Peter Setlin. And this is pretty obvious that she's ready to kind of like do like a tell-all, you know, and just do like interviews constantly because she's beefing up how she can speak on camera and in public.
I thought you meant like she was learning English because she was around so much stupid for so long that she needed to learn how to speak English again.
Yeah,
you meant like how to orate.
Yeah, she comes
like,
stumbling out of Buckingham like the chops. They're like, God, we got to fix this shit.
I was like, what happened? Did she have a seizure? Did I miss the seizure? No. Okay.
Yeah, she had one step too hard one time.
Yeah.
And just boom, forgot how to fucking talk.
Little brain damage. No big deal.
Well, no, it's I think it's just as a way to defend her public persona from like what she foresaw as what would be attacks on her image from the media and even the royal family. And this is kind of how she started to establish her image as, you know, the Queen of Hearts, which is what everyone loved to call her and everything.
So she know the Queen of Hearts was like the shittiest queen in like, wasn't the Queen of Hearts that like cut people's heads off in Alice in Wonderland?
Alice in Wonderland, yeah.
I wouldn't want
if she knew.
I wouldn't want to be associated with that.
Right.
Off with their head.
Well, in the interest of truthfulness, it came from because she was the queen of people's hearts and not their minds or something. Whatever the fuck.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah. All of her sessions with this speech instructor were recorded, and she's like ridiculously candid. I watched the documentary that had a bunch of the footage in it, and she talks about being like deeply in love with somebody, and people think that this person is Barry Manicky, who was one of Diana's personal bodyguards in the Royal Protection Squad.
Wait. Royal Protection Squad, is that the real name, or did you just say
Real
that?
fucking name. That's the real fucking name. Yep.
Hey, Barry Manicky.
Yep.
I bought a muffler off that asshole.
Is that how you proposed to Rain? Was with a muffler from Barry Manicky?
Don't talk about her.
Sorry.
She's dead to me.
I'm sorry. Well, I think she actually might be really dead, so.
That's what I mean.
She's dead to me and everybody.
Everybody who's dead is dead to me.
Oh God. Yeah, so this Barry guy was like suspiciously transferred in 1986 away from Diana to like a different department, and then interestingly died in a car accident in 1987, which really kind of added some fuel to that's it's kind of its own separate conspiracy, and it really got drugged back up later on with Diana's own death.
I can imagine.
Yeah. In 95, there's a TV interview in which Diana talks about basically everything she talked about in the book, but probably the biggest thing is that she questions Charles' ability to be an effective king on public, like live, like TV, you know?
Yeah.
And you know, there's no way to know this, but this had to have fucking set the queen off, like, because it was like immediately that she wrote it down and ordered Charles and Diana to actually get a divorce.
What exactly did you say, Queen Elizabeth?
You stupid fucking bitch. How dare you talk about my baby boy that way? He is my sweet little Bobbikins, and he will be king.
Thanks, Queen Elizabeth.
Fuck you.
I think we need to be careful because you could be speaking ill of the dead. She could die at any fucking moment.
She's probably already dead. That's a
You
rumor right
shut
now.
your fucking mouth. I'm not going anywhere. The only reason Charles doesn't become king is because I'm going to live to be fucking 200 years old. Queen out.
Man, that bitch is hard.
Yeah, she's rough. She's got like, wow, you know, being in charge for that long will do that to you.
I think so. That's got.
It's fucking crazy that Robin Williams has held character for 95 years.
The queen. That's what happened to Robin Williams. Oh God. So yeah, Queen orders them like, this is it. That's a wrap. We're not doing this anymore. And that divorce is kind of a drawn out process. It takes about a year before it's finalized in August of 96. Diana was actually allowed to keep her title, Princess of Wales, but lost the use of Her Royal Highness. I don't actually know that there's a significance there, even within the insignificance of actual royalty. Like, I don't know if that means like she's not royal, or if she is. I couldn't tell. It just seemed like semantics to me.
I feel like she'd still be a royal if they let her keep her title. No, I don't know.
She's still Princess of Wales, but not Her Royal Highness. It truly does not track. Anyways, financially, she got 17 million pounds at the time, which is equivalent to like 33 million today. And as well as 400 pounds just 400 pounds a year. 400,000 a year. Diana also kept private jet access.
Who wouldn't?
Yeah, I mean, you got to have that.
She negotiated into that. She was getting $500,000 a year, and then she's like, "Well, if I can still use the jet, I'll take 400,000. It'll be hard for me. I've never lived off such little."
They also let her keep like her living quarters in like Kensington.
I was gonna say they definitely let her just keep her housing.
Yeah, because supposedly, and this is like not confirmed, but apparently she actually asked to move back to her family estate, and her brother, who was Lord at the time, was like, no. I don't actually have more information on that. That's just something like a rumor that floated out there.
Her brother was more pissed than anyone at the royal family after she died.
But
mean,
I don't-
he go after them. He hated them.
Yes, and I don't trust that. I think he's a fame chaser, just like the rest of them, because I bet that it is true. I bet he told her no because the optics were bad or whatever, because nobility is fucking disgusting. You know? I mean, like, although if like my sister like married my landlord and then like they had like a really like knockdown drag out divorce and she was like, "Can I stay with you?" I'd be like, "No, dude, like that guy can kick me out." Like,
Yeah, and it's, to me, everything tracks minus like he thinks royalty is deplorable or whatever he said, because like he's still a fucking like,
he's a lord.
that's what I mean. Like
Yeah.
he's not, it's only deplorable until you take away my lordship, then I like it. You
Mhm.
know, fuck these guys.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? He was also Lord of the Dance.
Yeah, exactly. River dance
So-
lord.
I don't need this family shit. I have the
I just need to
music.
dance.
Wait until my debut at the Zombie Country weekend. They did an even 50-50 split of the kids. They I think it was horizontal. But
Yeah, I was gonna say, was it vertical or horizontal, but yeah.
no, they were already sharing holidays and stuff, so that was like not an issue because they were separated for 3 years prior to this. So
Yeah, Diana got what's the oldest one's name? Get William. Diana got
Yep.
William, and Charles got the hair. Hey,
Yep.
take that, you bald fuck.
yeah. You get the one that shares none of your DNA.
Yeah.
Diana dated publicly after the divorce. She was with this dude, Hasnat Khan, who is somehow actually related to Imran Khan, former Pakistani prime minister. Just
And
interesting.
grandson of the Wrath of Khan.
God.
Awesome. I didn't know that. That's good. I'll add it in here. Thank you. She I guess like she like really liked this dude, but for whatever reason they didn't really work out. And then another very public relationship of hers was Dodi Fayed, an Egyptian movie producer, and he was actually with Diana during her death on August 31st of 1997, and that's where we are now.
Did you say for Imran Khan? Did you say current
Former.
prime minister? Or did you get in there that
I
he was
just said
just
former,
ousted? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. He just got ousted from.
Yep. He's gonna go back to
Pakistan.
cricket. The bare facts of what happened.
Don't date a guy named Dodi.
That is, you solved it. Why did you ruin it, Paul?
I'm sorry. Cut that part out.
I will. We'll have to edit around that.
Yeah.
Is Dodie like short for something? That sounds like Stevie, you know what I mean? Is it like Dodoronimo?
It's
No,
short for Dildody.
well, that's his name now. The princess and Dildodi were on a 10-day getaway, and on this night they were actually at a Ritz hotel owned by Dildodi's father, and they had dinner there and stayed and hung out late. When it was time to leave, paparazzi swarmed them. This is like a little after midnight. So they actually had a decoy vehicle that went ahead of them, and a bunch of paparazzi followed that, but some of them stuck around just probably because they're not idiots.
Did the decoy vehicle turn over and burst into flames?
That one did not. They should have gone in the decoy vehicle.
Yeah, that if the decoy vehicle had turned around and burst into flames, and that would have been, a better decoy.
Yeah, that's true. what about
True.
a little bit more faithful?
Yeah.
Maybe he wasn't supposed to be the decoy. They got in the decoy one and they're like, fuck. And then they just went, oh, the decoy.
yeah, they fucked up. There was no one driving the other one. That's why. Just a
If there
brake
was
on
a-
the pedal.
Yeah.
There was a decoy vehicle. Does that mean the paparazzi were in a paparazzi blind?
There you
Oh,
go.
what?
That was a hunting joke. I liked it.
Oh, I didn't get it. I don't hunt.
You know?
Hey, no, can you believe it? You see behind me, my walls are just covered in animal skins and camo. I actually just let wild animals loose in my house so I can take shots at them on my way to the bathroom. That's how dedicated I am to the art of hunting. So Dildodi and Diana enter the black Mercedes. It is driven by a man. I don't want to sound like a dick. I just feel like this is how you pronounce his name. It's spelled Henri. I think that's Henri. Does that sound right? Or should I just call him Henry to not sound like a douche?
Henri.
Yeah. Henri.
Henri.
Henri Paul.
Where did you say they were coming from?
The Ritz Hotel. They're actually, I'm sorry. I also need to establish they are in Paris.
So it's Henri for sure.
Yeah. They're in Paris, and this is part of like a 10-day vacation that Dildody and Diana are on together. They get in that car driven by Henri Paul, and there's another bodyguard in there named Trevor Reese, and the paparazzi are swarming all around them. They start following them. The posted speed limit on this road is 30 miles per hour, and they head towards the tunnel. It's called the Pont de Liama tunnel at 70 miles per hour to try and get away from these paparazzi.
Is it still called that now, or is it called the Dead Diana Tunnel?
It's actually called Dildody Tunnel.
Okay.
Yeah. They thought that dude didn't get enough respect. So
The Vagironi. That's a Dildody tunnel.
That's right. The tunnel spans the Seine River in Paris. Just a fact. I don't know if that's important to anybody. Inside the tunnel, Paul lost control of the vehicle. How could you do that, Paul? And collided with a pillar. You know, you collide with a concrete pillar at 70 miles per hour. That's going to do some fucking damage.
Tell me about it.
Yeah. Diana's most severe injuries were not visible, which I thought was interesting. I just assumed like everybody died immediately and it was like a flaming wreck, like you were saying. But truthfully, what happened is Henri Paul and Dildody died like immediately on impact. Trevor Reese actually survived, and Diana had massive internal trauma, and she was conscious on the scene to the point that like the paparazzi were there before anybody else, and a bunch of them like started panicking and calling for help, while a bunch of other ones just started taking pictures of everything.
Shocker.
Right? Well, I guess some witnesses beat the shit out of one of the guys for doing that. And then when the cops actually did get there, they fucking like arrested 5 others and then arrested that dude, took all the film and impounded all of their vehicles. So
Good.
yeah,
There was a happy ending.
yeah, well, at least for that.
Apparently her last words were "leave me alone," because all the fucking paparazzi are over top of her dead body, which is fucking haunting.
Yeah, her last words were she was muttering "oh my god" over and over again, and then and leave me alone, because there was just people taking pictures of her everywhere. They took her to a nearby hospital and tried everything they could do to keep her alive. I mean, she was conscious and basically until the ambulance got there, and then she went into cardiac arrest, and they did cardiac massage, tried to keep her alive. This is at like 1 a.m. She didn't actually die from her injuries until 4:53 a.m. Yeah.
That's a long way to die.
Yeah. And the damage was so severe. It ripped apart a pulmonary artery, and it literally displaced her heart to the right side of her chest.
Yeah, that's going that's going fast.
Yeah, dude. And interestingly enough, Trevor Reese Jones survived because supposedly he was the only one in the car wearing a seatbelt.
See?
So yep.
He was the only one wearing a seatbelt.
Yep.
Oh, I thought you were going to go the opposite, because a lot of times if you get in car crashes, they say if you're not, sometimes, like not every time, but like sometimes if you don't see it coming or whatever, you don't brace, and like you just kind of like flippity flop out of the thing, and you kind of like ragdoll your way out of it, right?
I think that's true if you don't hit a concrete pillar going 70 miles.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah.
Because if you're not wearing your seatbelt when that happens, that shit makes your heart jump sides of your chest.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody for all these years, they've been blaming the fucking paparazzi. I blame the goddamn pillars.
I do too. They should have had less pillars.
Yes.
Less fucking pillars. And they didn't even move. They saw her coming.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Fuckers.
But you know what? They were standing up to royalty. They didn't want to like move out of the way for the fuck.
Yeah. They're like,
they're down to earth.
They're also French, so they're very stubborn. Like, who the fuck is this bitch? I have just been sitting here as this, holding up this bridge for decades, and she wants to come in here. Fuck her.
You
And they killed her.
French killer impressions.
Thank you.
Yeah, you killed the.
Listen, I know that you said that. I know that you said that the driver was trying to speed up to get away from the paparazzi, but I actually think he was like aiming to go right past the. I don't think he was just trying to speed up, right? I think he was trying to get into the French sewer museum underground
Ooh,
tour. That's
is that
right
real?
there, so that he could get away from the paparazzi right there. So I don't think. I think it was strategic. I think he just
Okay,
missed a
so
little bit.
he just sucked
Yeah.
a lot more than he thought he did. Got it.
Yeah. It's like that scene from Harry Potter. If you don't really believe in it, you don't go through the wall. And he was really close to the sewers there.
He would have gone through it if he.
The only thing I have to say
Yeah.
about this, about the whole tragic story, is like a candle in the wind, never knowing who to cling to when the rain came in.
Perfect.
And I would have loved to love her, but I was just a kid.
Thank you,
The
Mr.
candle burned out long ago. Before
You
We got
guys-
lots of celebrities today.
I know we got the Queen, Elton John, a French pillar. Who don't
It's
we
all
have?
of them are here. It's like Letterman.
That's actually, I guess, Elton John's only time playing that song live. I read that doesn't sound right, right?
I thought he wrote it because of that, or
Is it? Did he?
don't
I have
know.
no
I don't know.
idea. It's just what I can't even remember what website it was on. I just went through so many fucking links.
I think that was the only time he ever sang it about a dead queen.
Oh, maybe that's what I read.
He's been sitting there with his guitar at Buckingham Palace for years, but the bitch keeps taking her medicine. She keeps taking her hormones.
Oh my god. So at that funeral, this is fucking wild. Let me say this beforehand though. While this happened, the boys were actually with their father at that Balmoral Castle in Scotland with the Queen. They were like doing like a family thing over there. And it happened in the middle of the night. So like they heard immediately, and then Charles didn't tell the boys until the next morning. And then they stayed there for like a week. And the media was like very cold about this and like immediately started criticizing the royal family, saying that they were uncaring and they were like, they didn't give a shit about Diana and stuff, when like truthfully, like they were probably just giving this 15-year-old and 12-year-old boy a little bit of fucking privacy.
Yeah.
The fact that their mother
Excuse me, Prince Charles. Have
Yeah.
you shown the children the crime scene photos yet?
yeah. Yeah. Fucking crazy. And like, so the funeral itself is a week later on September 6th of 97. And this was on television, and it's estimated that 2.5 billion people around the world watched this. And Harry actually, it's
That's
insane.
crazy.
Harry actually talks about this a little bit in one of his interviews from like last year. And he says like it was just really fucking surreal to see like all these people like falling over themselves, devastated, and showing like 1,000 times more emotion than he was while he's walking behind his own mother's coffin.
Yeah, it's because
Like-
she fucking threw herself down some stairs where her brother was in their gut. Like they didn't like her that much.
Yeah, that's right. She made my brother weird and ugly. He talks a lot about it.
But
and-
I would have liked to love you, but you threw me down the stairs.
Thank you, Mr. John. We didn't think you'd be back.
You're welcome.
So the French investigation into what happened started fucking
And it-
immediately. They
And that
like
was Inspector Clouseau, right?
yes,
Yeah.
yep, and actually they got Jacques Cousteau involved as well. He was like, well, this happens on the river, and I know water, so maybe And he was actually very
Jean
unhelpful.
Reno was there. What other French people do I know? That's it.
Well, Jean
Marcel
Reno was there
Marceau.
just because Andrew wanted some tips on how to get close to Natalie Portman. So
Yeah.
Marcel was there, but he couldn't tell the cops that what he saw.
oh man, we're doing some inside baseball French jokes now. So the French were like, okay, we need to be on top of this, and they investigated everything immediately. Their conclusion was very to the point. Turns out Henri Paul was drunk. His blood alcohol content was through the roof, 2 times the legal limit of Canada or the US.
Wait, they have a blood alcohol limit in France?
They do. And listen to this. It was 2 times the limit in Canada or the US, 3.5 times the limit in France.
Wow.
You believe theirs is lower?
I can't. The resistance is higher.
It must be, yeah.
Do you think he was just trying to hit the brake though, and he's just so drunk he hit the gas?
It could be. I mean, they also found prescription antidepressants in his system, and I mean, everybody knows you can't mix that shit.
At least he wasn't depressed when he hit the filler.
He wasn't sad going
He
in.
was in a good mood.
Yeah.
He was not. He was not depressed. He was compressed.
Yeah.
Hey, Levine.
Interesting fact, and this is more to how people perceived Diana's death. Suicide rates in England and Wales went up 17% in the following 4 weeks. Even more ridiculous is when you narrow that scope to women aged 25 to 44, suicide was up 45% in that demographic.
But to be kind of a wet sponge, anybody that kills themselves because Diana died probably, we should have let him go anyway.
Yeah, I'm with you. The week, I'm sorry that the girl who chucked herself down many stairs is making you so sad.
If there was an increase in people throwing themselves down the stairs,
Okay, I wasn't interested, but now I kind of want to know how this 45% did it. Because was it throwing themselves down the stairs?
They crashed their cars into a concrete
French
pillar
pillars.
on the Pont d'Alma Bridge over the Seine River. Yeah, there was a lot of cleanup that week.
what if it was just somebody who was going to kill themselves anyway, and they're probably like thinking, "Oh, I can't wait," but goddamn it, they're going to think it's because of Diana.
That made them even more depressed.
Fuck.
Oh my God. So the British investigation was a bit more thorough than the French one, as it took 11 years to come to a conclusion.
And who was in charge of that? The Sherlock Holmes?
Yes. Yeah. Yep. I believe it was Sherlock Holmes.
Now, was it the Benedict Cumberbatch Sherlock Holmes or
Both of them. They needed both to really crack this nut.
All they needed, if they wanted to crack a nut, all they needed was a French pillar. Am I right, guys?
I know I busted a nut when that happened. I was only 5 years old. It was my first nut that I busted.
Yeah. The gore.
Yeah. So the British inquest, ultimately a jury came to the verdict that it was an unlawful killing attributed to careless driving by Henri Paul and the pursuing paparazzi. What this did was nothing, because not like they arrested anybody.
The last time we heard about the British court system in this, though, is a mom testified against her own daughter to help a royal out. So I'm just pointing that out now.
Yep. Nope, that is a perfect segue into beyond the facts now, and we can start conspirifying here. So they're everywhere. There's a million theories. The British investigation actually looked into like 175 of them. They actually looked into the conspiracy theories, mostly because Dildodi's father, Mohammed Al-Fayed, he is adamant that they were murdered from day one. He's like, they were murdered. They murdered my boy and his beautiful wife to be, even though, like, by all accounts, even Diana's sister is like, yeah, they weren't like really that close. She actually really loved that Hasnat Khan guy and was hoping to go.
Shaka Khan's brother.
Yes. Yep. So the father, Mohammed, he's just anything that's there, he grabs onto, basically. So he's really kind of the full fuel behind most of these conspiracies, because I think he's just really torn up.
I'm gonna be honest. The way that it's described in the public events of them hitting a pole and whatever, it sounds so open and closed, but there's a lot of shit here that makes it seem sus. And I think there's a connection. I could be wrong, but I think there's a connection that not a lot of people have put together that kind of just shows everyone in the sphere is fucked and probably going to get killed at some point.
Yeah, it's really interesting because that, like, when you look at, like, again, that Barry Manicky guy and like how he like just mysteriously died like a year after he was transferred from potentially having an affair with Diana all the way back then, like, it's just that just like sort of like seeds some doubt. And then one thing that I couldn't really figure out a good place to put it, so I'm just going to put it here, is Diana did write a letter to her butler in like 1995, detailing that she feared for her life and that the brakes on her car would be cut to make room for Charles to remarry.
That's it. The butler did it. Done. Good night, everyone. Thanks for watching the show.
You nailed it. You nailed it, dude.
Quick question: are you going to go through this like theory 1, theory 2, theory 3, or are we just postulating?
I just have a list of them, so we can just,
okay,
run through them, or we can just keep interrupt. I don't give a fuck. I like the interruptions because they're funny.
Okay. Dodie, let me make some assumptions because I don't remember this specifically, but you can correct me.
Sure.
But this guy's not white.
He's Egyptian.
Egyptian.
Yep. And if you want to touch on that, that is one of the theories, that the royal family killed them because they did not want a Muslim having a connection to the throne.
Well, she still had her title. Like, he would have been fucking somewhere in the line to become king.
Like, that's kind of like, I couldn't figure it out. I tried to like navigate that and figure out where that went, because I don't know if their divorce actually had a bearing on that. I feel like maybe if like 85 people died at once, maybe Diana might have a claim to the throne, but I'm not really sure how that works still.
Were there any theories about mummy curses?
Yeah, they're cursed by mummies, grandmummies, great grandmummies, mummy dearests,
mums.
Yeah. Yeah, so that is one of the things. They also like theorized that Diana was pregnant at the time. And the problem with most of these theories is like an investigator or a coroner or a scientist goes, nope, that was factually false. I looked at it and it wasn't there. And then the public's like, that's a lie. You're a paid shill. Like, there's no.
Well, that's how conspiracies work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same people who think Trump's president.
Exactly.
I think, in my opinion, there's a lot to the Muslim thing, just because like the only problem is like the brakes weren't cut, right? Like they were.
No, that letter is also kind of weird because she mentions that Charles is gonna marry his assistant. I think her name is Tiggy Burke or something, and not Camilla. So it seems like it might have just been like a depressed thing that she wrote to her butler.
Whenever I write to my butler, I mean, I'm usually drunk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, mine's usually complaining about my billionaire ex-husband too, so I can feel her that. I feel her with that.
Paul, does your butler wear a full tuxedo suit in your house when he's there?
Oddly enough, I have him wear a maid's outfit.
Okay, cool. I thought
that's
that
not odd at all.
Appropriate. Yeah,
it's not odd at all. Jerome, imagine I just had a guy come out of
yeah, that'd be great. Just starts feeding you grapes.
Yeah.
Paul does it, and just a handful of grapes come flying at his head. Your butler doesn't like you.
You know what? I think the whole thing is so ugly and Kardashian-y and just gross. I don't know if there's any room for conspiracies.
There's some interesting ones.
I think that I think it was just tawdriness and the doom of tawdriness.
I agree. A lot of them are very unbelievable. Like, for instance, like one of the big theories, Henri Paul was paid to crash the car, which like he died, so I guess maybe it could have gone wrong, but that doesn't really track unless there was like another plan there.
But let's be honest, there wouldn't be the first person to commit suicide for their country. It happens quite often. We just talked about seppuku. We haven't talked about this, but like fucking suicide bombers, like those guys do that for religion shit all the time. Who knows how committed this asshole
That's
would be.
True. And what better way to be patriotic? There's freedom, there's protecting other people, and then there is just protecting the Queen's best interests.
No, that's not even
nothing's
Queen's-
more
it's not-
important.
It's protecting England from becoming brown people. Are you kidding me? It's got to be all white people.
I don't think this, if it was an assassination, in any way, I don't think the target was Diana. I actually think the target was Dodi.
People say that too.
Yeah, and I think it's, you look at the connection. His father basically has connections everywhere, but large companies in the UK. He has connections with Saudi Arabia as it is, and I'm sure Egypt as well. Egypt, couldn't find anything specific, but the way that the family's all set up. Fun fact: Dodi, whatever, his cousin was Jamal Khashoggi, who was
That is a
Really?
funny fact.
yeah,
Are you serious?
yeah,
I
who
didn't
was
know that.
assassinated.
No,
Have you guys done
Get the
Khashoggi?
fuck out of here.
No, that's
I
his
did
cousin.
know that. How did I forget to put that in there?
Yeah,
I
but
did read that.
they're Middle Easterners. They're all cousins. They're like the goddamn Italians.
He knows shit. Like so
See,
Dodi's-
that's why Paul and I get along.
Dodi is the only son from the mother that his dad was married to, whatever. It's like they had one child. It was Dodi, and that is Jamal's first aunt.
Dude,
Like,
I
no
forgot
shit, real
that
relation.
so
Yeah.
hard. I remember now. I looked at Misty and I was like, check this out. And I completely blanked out of my head.
And I think it's crazy if you look at the power that the father has just through all of his business dealings. And then you look back and see how close all of the Khashoggis were originally with the Saudi regime. And now it's kind of just faded because of Jamal speaking out against. I see your hand raised. You could talk whenever.
While RJ was being genuine with his shock and awe of this person's name, I was being sarcastic as if, why the fuck would I know this person's name? So who is this person?
Khashoggi?
Oh, Jamal Khashoggi was a journalist.
buddy.
You remember that journalist back in 2018 who was mysteriously disappeared in Istanbul?
I remember vaguely of this, yes.
Yeah, so Jamal Khashoggi, he was a journalist he was originally from Saudi Arabia. He would write articles against the Saudi regime. He wasn't always doing that, but he was doing that for near the end of his life. He was told by the Saudis that he had to come to the consulate or the embassy or whatever it was in Istanbul to be able to finalize his divorce because he was getting remarried. When he went in there, he never came out.
And there's recordings of him getting sawed into pieces.
Yeah, I remember this now. I remember
By
that
the
now.
Saudi Arabian prince guy, that winner, whatever his name is.
And the
Allegedly.
one of these ambassadors got the tapes or whatever and leaked it, right? If I'm not mistaken,
Allegedly.
something like that happened. Allegedly, but yeah, okay. So he is related to that guy. They say the Saudis cut this guy up.
Oh yeah, I mean it was inside the Saudi embassy. It had to be them if he was killed inside there. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Saudis are the bad guys again. 9/11, Princess Diana,
Mhm.
Loch Ness Monster, all Saudis.
Yeah. Well, okay. Here's the thing. When you said,
How do you think the
what-
Loch Ness Monster swims when it's in that big white robe? It's got to be a lot of drag underwater, right?
All I
Sandworm.
know is when they got that Loch Ness Monster inside that Turkish embassy, they fucking went to town.
Oh man, how many parts do you think they cut that long neck up into?
How many steaks? Let's see. That's
That's a prime
when
bet.
when I saw that Dodi was a rich Egyptian, I knew immediately that either the Saudis were involved or the Israelis. One of the two of them killed him.
Whoa, the Israelis.
They think that his father is pretty keen on accusing MI6.
Doesn't make sense, in my opinion.
And I none of it makes sense, man. But his father put everything into trying to blame anybody. There's actually this dude, Richard Tomlinson, who's a disgraced MI6 agent who literally did jail time for spreading official secrets. In the French investigation, he testified that MI6 was involved based on no evidence.
But he testified.
But so you said he's in jail right now did he spread real secrets?
He did jail time. It's unclear because I just didn't care to look into him anymore.
If he spread real secrets and then testified to that, I don't know. I kind of believe him.
Right. Yeah. And that's what's interesting. But he also kind of seems like It's inconsistent because then in the British investigation, he was like, oh, I may have misremembered some details and then basically walked everything back. But again, that could be something you do if you're afraid. So I don't know.
If you're afraid of running into a French post.
I am not a French post. I'm a French column.
Yeah, we are out here waiting for you, motherfucker.
I dare you to drive into me. I've killed bigger people than you.
Charles wisened up. That motherfucker doesn't even eat food that he doesn't prepare. You see, he was on like Master Chef or something, and he refused to eat the food.
Really? I didn't see that. That's funny.
He will not be getting killed by MI6. He knows.
I think he's just picky, and he won't eat anything that isn't Elizabeth's tit. So.
It's so dust.
Yeah, it's cottage cheese, but.
Oh my God. Now I'm hungry.
Oh, Camilla. I just made some cream cheese.
I think that's the queen behind you if you're hungry, Paul.
Hello.
Hey, you want to get knighted? You remember how to get knighted? How do you have to get
knighted? Oh,
knighted?
yeah. When we figured out in order to get knighted, you have to eat the queen's pussy. So all you got to do when you're sucking on her tit is just go like, I don't know, a quarter of an inch lower, and then you're in her pussy. So you'll be a knight.
I can't wait till MI6 knocks you out, you son of a bitch.
There's a new French column being erected on my way to work.
Yeah. Right in front of your car.
Yeah. So yeah, this Richard Tomlinson guy seems shaky and stuff, and the authorities are kind of like, whatever with this guy. The bright flash is its own kind of separate theory. There's this thing that people claim that they saw like a bright flash in the tunnel, and that supposedly blinded the driver, and then they think it was like an intentional device of some kind. Our good old friend Richard Tomlinson tried to corroborate this, but again, I think he was.
You know what? It's hard to believe with all those paparazzi around that there'd be any kind of bright flashes.
And I that's where my head was at too. However, the way that they tested it, and again, this is shaky because I don't have like actual math here for this, but the idea is that like for something to be that bright, literally every single witness on the scene would have been able to say, yes, I saw that. And only like 5 people actually claimed they saw it. One of them was Francois Levistre.
Fuck no.
You got me for a half second.
we were about to.
Yeah. You got me there. This dude claimed he saw it while he was ahead of the car, and all that. And the problem with that is that his wife was in the passenger seat, and she directly contradicted all that. And this dude was also actually put in jail for lying in court in 1989.
What's with the Queen being able to get family members to go against their other family?
Well, these people were French, so her reach is far.
Yeah.
Maybe the bright flashes were their souls.
That could be
royal heaven,
exploding out of their bodies to go to heaven.
Yeah.
Awesome. But an American tourist also who was driving under the bridge claimed that he saw it as well. And then when the media got a hold of this information and they did like an expose on it was, as soon as it happened, this was in 1998, they're already doing ongoing coverage 24/7 about her death.
For 11 years. Holy shit.
No. I'm sorry. This was in 98. She died in 97.
No, I know, but you said the investigation continued for 11 years. That's a long 24/7 coverage.
Oh, no. I mean, it pops up like almost on a yearly basis, but the coverage like, after she died was just like nonstop. And one of the things that they did was this newspaper called The Mirror put out a poll on the bright flash, and nearly 93% of people who answered the poll believed that there was actually a bright flash at the time of the crash. But like I said, investigators just don't think it was possible.
Did they do a poll on the poll?
When they asked about it, the poll was very standoffish, and they were worried it would kill them, so they backed away.
All right.
Another.
I think the flash is horseshit.
I don't believe that shit at all.
The flash is horseshit. Everyone would have saw it, and it doesn't really explain why he's going 70 and drunk. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it doesn't
No,
really help that
and
part
he
out.
was definitely fucking drunk, because let me make it clear, like, how fucking committed Dildodi's father was. He paid for his own pathologist to try and prove that Henri Paul wasn't drunk, and that pathologist did say, like, oh well, it's possible, blah 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 blah, and like kind of contradicted the French. The French were so serious that they went back and redid all of their tests with this dude's dead fucking vitreous eye fluid. And that was when they actually found the antidepressants. They didn't even have the antidepressants before, but they were like, no, he's definitely drunk. And also this.
So days after he died, he was still drunk.
Yeah. Yeah. It tends not to work out of your system after you
Uh-huh.
die for some reason.
I feel like if they had the eyes and they tested the eyes before, they would have had the antidepressant, or someone took the eyes and was like, I got the eyes. And then they went, you know what, we're gonna need those for science a couple of years later. And it's like, fuck, that was my only trophy from Doty.
And the eyes have it.
You bastard.
Are there any theories that they got him drunk, like, or they got him fucked up where he wasn't intended, like, you know, they slipped?
There's definitely some controversy around his drunkenness, because there were actually people who said he looked like stone sober prior to even entering the vehicle, and there wouldn't have been enough time between when they saw him sober and when he was in the car for him to be as wasted as he was. But the investigators were like, he's a fucking alcoholic, and from personal experience, you can
know
see
more than anyone.
very not. You can
Yes.
seem very much like you're not drunk if you have a high tolerance. So
Gotcha.
they're positive he's just,
All right, sorry guys, I have to dip. Paul, it was really nice
Rick,
to
what's
meet
your
you.
theory before you go? You got 5 seconds to tell us what you think happened here.
The Saudis have a time machine and they killed
Awesome.
this guy
right.
because they thought it was
In the
Khashoggi, but the wrong cousin got killed.
in the pool. I'll close this out with this, just because it's the most interesting. The white Fiat is a point of interest around this whole thing. The Diana's car that she was in had marks of white paint on it, like something had like sideswiped it, and it was consistent with a white Fiat Uno that people had seen at the scene, and it was totally missing. Now, Doty's father says that, oh, that would belong to photojournalist John Paul James Addison, who he accused of being another secret MI6 agent, or at least hired by them, because he was a paparazzi who'd been taking photos of them all through their 10-day getaway, and that he, got close enough to actually kill them or whatever. But this guy was interesting, and this is why I think this is important to share. Addison killed himself, and this was a couple years after, in like 98, it says. He died in a charred and burned out BMW, and his head, like, it burned so hot, his head was detached and in between the front seats. And there was like a hole in his head that seemed like it might be consistent with a gunshot, but they also say could have just been from the intense heat. His death was ruled a suicide, though.
That suddenly makes me suspicious, where I haven't been up till now. No, I'm serious.
It does, yeah, because it's kind of like a weird.
Spooky.
And I'll take it away a little bit, because after throughout the British investigation, which is 10 years after this, associates of Addison talked about how he literally mentioned multiple occasions that he would kill himself by sitting in his car soaked in gas and lighting a cigar. So who's lying? Yeah, I mean, that's so specific, right?
Yeah, but that doesn't really explain a hole in the head.
No, it doesn't. And that's the thing. They really wash that away by saying, oh, it's just from the intense heat. But like, how fucking hot was that car?
How was that cigar? Like,
Yeah.
that burned right through his fucking head when he lit himself on fire.
Yeah, I mean, it made his head fall off. It's just kind of crazy.
Yeah, I've never heard of someone being immolated so bad that their head falls off. That's fun.
Yep. And here's how the British took this shit really seriously. So they looked and they checked 4,000 different white Fiats throughout this whole investigation. James Addison did own a white Fiat, and they found it on his property, but it was in such bad condition that they said there is no fucking way this was drivable at that time. Like the thing was like falling apart. So
Yeah, like every Fiat.
Fiat burn.
You've heard that joke. What does Fiat stand for? Fix it again, Tony. That's old.
I had not heard that one.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll know it once I'm as old as you.
Yeah.
You know it now though, so
No, I'm gonna forget it.
Uh-oh.
And then as
Okay.
soon as I turn 50, I'll know it.
When you buy your first white Fiat, you'll know.
There you
Okay. I may have to cancel my deposit. So they checked all these Fiats and none of them really check out. I mean, it doesn't, they either don't match or they just aren't consistent with what they were looking for. But there's one, and I didn't make a point of looking more into who this guy is, but all the info is kind of here. Lee Van Tan was the owner of a white Fiat Uno that actually fit the description of the witnesses at the scene. When they looked at his car, it was identical to the one that they described. Later on in 2006, during the British investigation, Tan's father came forward and said he had resprayed his car red the same night of the crash. In the middle of the night, he woke his mechanic brother up and they repainted the car. And they did tests on this vehicle, and they were like, the conclusion they came to was, yeah, it could have been involved. But I don't know what kind of science they're doing that they can't be sure. And they said, but, Tan did say he was working that night. So they just believed him, I guess. And to this day, this dude has never accepted an interview or ever talked to them.
that's just like calling someone guilty because I tell you got to talk to my lawyer. You know what I mean? It doesn't really mean anything. It's just more.
I mean, the fact that the car matched that much.
The car is what's interesting to me, not the fact that he won't talk.
But also that his own father said he repainted it. Like, what reason would his dad have to come forward with that information?
$5,000 from TMZ.
You think so?
These places will pay for fucking stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that's the case.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's the only motivation I could think would be monetary.
All right, here's another scenario, a possibility. This guy's just driving home, and he's a bad driver, and he hits the tunnel. Just all of a sudden, this fucking black Mercedes comes up behind him going really fast. He accidentally bumps into the car. It crashes. And he's like, fuck, I got to get the fuck out of here and paint this car.
It could be, yeah.
And then wakes up the next day and finds out Princess Diana.
Yes.
I love you, Paul. This is actually my theory and the one I honestly think. I think somebody accidentally killed them. And it was just like,
oh, fuck, let me get out of here.
Yeah. I could be, man. Like, weirder shit has happened just on shit on the show that we've done. Never mind, like, so I wouldn't be shocked if that was the case. Just someone like worst place, worst time ever. I do like that for sure.
Okay.
I do like. Okay, so what do we have so far? There's the flashing light one, which I find is horseshit.
Yep. There's, the MI6 involvement and all that, and that the royal family was like directing them around basically, which I
the only reason I think this might have any type of legs is because of racism. So that's that. Other than that, like, it seems impossible unless like maybe somebody was in the car and choked out the fuck guy. That's why he's like driving, but there's no injuries other than the death, right? Like, it's not like they find him being choked out or something in the car. So
right. And there's
whatever.
I mean, there's some like arguments about like everything that went around with like the bodies, like they embalmed Diana too fast. Well, they wanted to make it so that her body was viewable. I mean, she fucking died. I don't really think that's an issue.
No, 2 billion people are about to see that shit. Nobody wants to see the maggots crawl out of her eye sockets.
Exactly. Yeah. And then also they didn't take her to the closest hospital, and people like pointed that out and were like, they skipped that hospital, but that hospital, I guess, supposedly wasn't actually equipped to deal with her injuries.
They were gonna go there, but the emergency was blocked by a fucking dented up Fiat, so they went to the next one.
The ambulance driver was 3.5 times the legal limit.
Hey, call him. Where do I go?
Yeah.
You go up the street, two sides, two
Yeah.
lefts.
I want to write a movie about Lee Dantan, starting on that night, and then him for the rest of his life just looking over his shoulder.
Yeah. And just every time Princess Diana comes up, his face gets red.
Yeah, every time he hears this on the radio, and I would have liked to love her.
Mr. John, everybody. Yeah, I think that one is the most believable. But I mean, I also probably just think it's the funniest because there's like other stuff that people bring up that it's just aren't really theories, that are just like dumb, like, yeah, what abouts, like the seatbelt. People honestly just believe Diana wasn't the type of person who would not wear a seatbelt. Like, she just seemed like somebody who would always wear a seatbelt.
Yeah, I don't think so. She's having a night of partying in Paris and she's fucking royalty. Like, the driver should have been, she's probably having fun, fucking laughing, whatever, in the back seat.
She's in the back seat with an Egyptian.
Yeah, exactly.
Buckle up like an Egyptian.
Yeah. Well, what about, okay, before we keep going, like, what about just it being straight up accident, drunk driving, speed into a thing? Like, what do we think?
And that's the official report. I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, that's just like what the authorities say happened. Both of them.
I don't listen to the man. We're fucking private dicks. We figure this shit out ourselves. So, do you think that's more likely that someone accidentally crashed into her? Like, how prevalent is the Fiat thing? Like, did lots of people say there was a Fiat on site? Did they have a photo of it or something? Or is it just like,
from what it is, it's mostly just eyewitness accounts because of all the paparazzi that were there. Like, prior to even the police being there were like a good amount of eyewitnesses. So,
but wait, there's a million paparazzis around and nobody took a picture of any white Fiats?
Yeah, and that's also kind of a hole. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is what I'm trying to like. Anyways, I maybe because they're in the tunnel too, right? So they only ran after they heard the smashing. All the paparazzi ran to the edge of the tunnel. They probably went to see what was actually going on in the tunnel at the time, because why follow them? They're in a fucking car. Right. So, but you figure somebody would have be coming out, or maybe what you said, they came up from behind and he kept driving down the tunnel and no one would have ever seen him. So, okay, you sold me on the Fiat. I'm down with the Fiat. You sold me on what's his name?
Okay.
Tan?
Yeah, it's interestingly spelled though, and I actually don't know like what nationality this guy is, but it's LE space VANH space THANA.
He's I would say Vietnamese.
Right? That's what I was getting from that.
Why?
And, just imagine him.
The spelling.
Like, seconds after it, rolling down his window, acting nonchalant, just kind of slowly driving away.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say because he's a terrible driver, but
nope, you're the only racist one.
Got to do it once an episode.
That's true. Well, okay. Yeah, I mean, it's that, or we just go with the official explanation, which is what, is on official record, which is why I think it's strange that, Paul, you want us to clear your name when it's already cleared, but we will take your money. So,
well, I got a question. What is your real name, Mr. Tan?
You caught me.
Is he eating pho?
You know what? All I know is, why was there a grassy knoll in a tunnel?
True.
You've been paying attention. You've been paying attention, I see. That's good. So are you satisfied with the Fiat, Mr. Tan? Just oopsie daisy.
I want to believe that because it just seems funny.
Yeah, it does. It's honestly the funniest. Like, that is exactly the pic, like the way I was trying to picture it.
Yeah,
when I put it in here,
it puts the fun and fucked up death. That's for sure.
You know, I just wonder if the people whose food that Lee Van Tan was delivering, if they got it on time.
He gets this is gonna cost you $50. Princess Diana died for this phone.
Yeah. The fucking car's like all shredded up and he's just sweating.
The alcoholic eyeballs are free.
Yeah. There's like teeth and fucking body parts in it.
It's like Ace Ventura at the beginning of Ace Ventura, just all smashed up. You're gonna want to hopefully you got insurance
on your food, your delivery food. I knew I should have gotten the insurance this time. Pizza Hut always fucks up.
All right, so your name's cleared then, and that'll
Yeah.
be how much we charge Paul, Uncle Paul here. He bought you a suit, man. Give him a good deal.
I'll pay for the Lee Van Tans delivery.
Okay, I will take it. What's that? Like probably like well, that was 1999 money.
That's
So
10 baht.
well, no, a pizza in 1999, so that would be $834 today, right?
Yeah, with inflation.
Yeah. All right, yeah, we'll send you the invoice.
All right.
Sounds good.
Thanks, guys. And you know what? You know what I think about your podcast? It's like a candle in the wind. You never know who did it until the end.
Incredible.
It's like he's in the room.
It
I
really
know. It's because he is in the room. I love audio medium. He's been here the whole time. Him and the Queen.
Hello, Private Dicks. Doodle doodle. I don't know the other words.
You're my favorite podcast.
Wow, Elton John's really inconsistent today.
Yeah, he's terrible. He hasn't even pulled out his piano.
He's like an Elton in the wind.
Yeah, man. Do you want us to, before you go, do you want us to plug anything? I could put it in the episode, in the show notes, stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, do you even want is your podcast still up? Do you care?
Oh yeah, it is up still on Apple.
If it's still up, there's no reason for us not to.
Sure,
Yeah, let's plug it.
You could be the 3 people that listened to it this year. Do you remember what it was called? Look who showed up.
Look who showed up. That's right. Yeah.
I just watched Private Dicks, and I think RJ's the funniest.
What? Come on.
Hey there, all you private dickheads. That's probably not the name we're gonna stick with. Anyways, RJ here. I am here to tell you thank you for listening to another episode of Private Dicks. If you liked what you heard, go on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere they take your reviews, drop us 5 stars, say something nice. Also, what you just heard was from last season. If you want current episodes as they're dropped, head on over to patreon.com and search up Unethical Podcast. That's our mother podcast. I was not aware Private Dicks was a spinoff. I'm going to renegotiate my contract. On Patreon is a full 16-episode season more of Private Dicks, uncut videos of each episode, and many more things are getting added all the time. You can also find all of Unethical's content on there, so go listen to that. And if you're already a patron, fuck yeah, dude. You're the best.